Hi everyone. Welcome to week 6 of Nursing Research and Statistics. Pretty soon, in 2 weeks, you'll be finished this class. It's amazing how fast it's gone by, and on some level it seems like it's dragged for you, I'm sure. So um, I just want to welcome you to this week and give you some tips for the coming week. So basically I wanted to go over what it is that's required of the assignment this week. You'll be turning in your paper, Part 4, which is also going to include the research design. So this week you're going to develop a hypothetical plan. If you were to do this research, how would you do it? It's based on your questions and your hypotheses, and I want you to develop a research design that's appropriate for the problem that you've developed. That should include a statement about the design, whether it's quantitative, qualitative, or a mixed methods design. And you can get more in depth if you want, correlational, um, quasi-experimental, whatever it is that you want to do. And then give me the sampling method. I'd like it to include your inclusion and exclusion criteria, as well as your sample size and the setting where you think that you will collect the data. I want a description of the data collection methods. Are you going to be administering a questionnaire? Are you going to be doing retrospective chart review or prospective patient interviewing? Whatever method you're going to use. And then also the statistical analysis that you'll use, including a brief explanation of the method that you're going to use and why you chose that method, what makes it appropriate for your study. You'll submit the paper, all the parts of the paper, 1, 2, and 3. You'll add part 4. Then your references will come, and then you will have an appendix, your TOE. So I've been sending you all feedback about your papers. Hopefully you've incorporated it into them. And when you submit them, I'll get them back to you as quickly as I can, because you'll need them for week 7 when you're going to be doing a discussion board, a posting to your peers about what your research is about and some of the salient points about it. So I wanted to give you that information. And then I also wanted to let you know, how do I finish my paper strong? Also known as, how do I get Dr. Ellis to give me an A? I know you're all thinking about your grades and wondering. All of you have been doing really well in the class. If I've had any concerns, I've let you know about that. But you've all been working very hard, and you've been really passing in your assignments. I'm very impressed with the work that you're doing. I know that you're taking it seriously and you're working diligently on it. So it's not just about a grade, it's also about learning the concepts and understanding when you walk out of the class how to do a research project, because you're going to, at some point in your career, especially if you're going to move on to a higher level of nursing, like a master's and a doctorate, you're going to be required to do research. So my hope is that there is a basis that we've laid down, a good foundation, and that you'll be able to build on that. So if you want to do well on your paper, make sure that your font is Times New Roman 12 point throughout the entire paper. So some of you have been mixing and matching your fonts. You can't do that. I had sent back information to all of you about the TOE, telling you it needed to be in 12 point. I've rethought that, and actually you can do it in 10 point. I think it fits better in the boxes of the table when you use 10 point instead of 12. So on the TOE alone, I will accept a point 10 font, but on the remainder of the paper you have to have 12 point. It's required, and it's required to be Times New Roman, because that's what APA requires. You need a title page. Your title page has to have a running head and all the required elements, and format your references correctly. We've been having some difficulty with that. You all have an APA manual, or you should have an APA manual, looks like this. And I have been referring you to specific pages in this manual if you've not been able to do something correctly. I hope that's been helpful to you, but this really is your Bible for about how your paper needs to look. There is no abstract required at all at any time for this paper. I just want to reiterate that because this says when you submit a manuscript you need an abstract. That is not the case with this paper. Also, make sure that your paper has 1-inch margins, that it's double spaced, that it's aligned to the left. You tab to indent the paragraph, and you use the correct levels of heading. So some of you need to use levels of heading because of how you've chosen to write your paper. On page 62 of your APA manual, down the bottom, it gives you the levels of headings, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And on the following page, it shows you what they look like when you use them, okay? So make sure that you're looking at this information, especially if I've told you to, because you will lose points for APA formatting errors, which I don't want you to do. Those are good points to be able to get in case you lose points someplace else. So they're kind of gimme points. So I don't want to have to take them away. The next thing is make sure that you use complete sentences. Some of you have been bullet pointing things. I've been responding to you about that. It's not appropriate in a scholarly paper, so make sure that you're using complete sentences. Double check the rubric to make sure you've included all of the components. Spell check your papers. Don't use slang, contractions, or colloquialisms. So slang is like, I ain't gonna. A contraction is, isn't, wasn't. You have to say is not, was not. And colloquialisms are things that we understand in our generation, but other generations may not understand. So when I was a kid, we talked about things really cool. Now my grandson talks about things are, there's a word that he uses. It's sick. They're sick. And that means it's really good. So hold on one second, my dog.